going to show you today how to put your binding on a quilt and miter the corners and finish it with a miter. You won't be able to tell the difference from the beginning and the end and the joins in between. I'm Lori from Lori's Country Cottage. Let's go to my sewing room. Now we're going to make some binding. You want to make your binding strips one long strip to go around the whole quilt. So you add up your length on all of your sides, add them together, and then divide that by 40 to find out how many strips you need to cut. You will lose some on all of your seams and you will lose some on the corners. So allow another strip, depends how many seams you have to join. For me, I just have 2 strips here. And okay, so I want to join these with a mitered seam, and so I am going to join it like this so that it will be one long strip. So I will sew from here to here. So I'll want to sew from here to here, from the inside piece into here. I want to put my stitch length down on my machine to about 2. The same thing as what we use for quilting. So I want to sew from that corner to here. Okay, now we want to trim that. Trim that at 1/4 inch and then press it open. So I've got that trimmed at 1/4 inch and I want to press it open. By pressing it open, it just eliminates some of the bulk once you get that sewn into your binding. When you begin sewing, you want to fold your binding in half and you're going to work from the right side of the quilt and leave yourself a little tail, and don't start right at the end, right at the corner, so that you have some room to work for the finishing part. So you want to sew that on at 1/4 inch. And you can lengthen your stitch a little bit here too. I usually do 2.5. So I want to stitch to 1/4 inch from the end. Now I have a 1/4 inch foot on here so I can see where the end is. A couple more stitches. So the end is right at the 1/4 inch spot here on my foot. So I take and I turn it so I can go the next direction, and I want to back off. And so now my machine is off and I need to fold because I'm going to want my binding to go down this way on the next line. You want to make sure that you fold it all the way up and all the way down and be straight at the top here. Any excess or shortage here will make you a funny corner. So now you come back on, do a little back stitch, come back, and then you continue on to the next corner. Some people feel it's important to iron the binding before you put it on, and I don't like to. I was told by a quilting instructor that if you don't fold it, you got a nicer edge, a bigger edge, I guess, to do your hand stitching on the back. Whereas if it's been ironed flat, you've got such a little point to have to slide into. Bring up to the end, just about at the end, 1/4 inch from there, needle down. turn and back up, back off. I usually like to have my needle down. I didn't mean to cut the thread. And then you want to fold this all the way up and then all the way back down to the edge that you want to get to. Now you want to make sure you don't have too much up there and don't be short. Too much will make a little point at the end and too little will pull your corner round. Okay, now back on we come. Okay, and now we carry on to the next corner. A lot of binding as you get the seam in the corner. Okay, back off, needle down, fold this all the way up, all the way down, and then you come back along the last edge. And remember again, make sure you don't have too much at the top there or too little. Has to be straight at the top. I've cut my binding at 2 1/4 inches. Only if I've got an extra thick batting, and or sometimes with flannel, especially flannel with a cuddle backing, I might use 2 1/2 inch binding. Coming up to the corner again. Okay, stop. Oops. Back off. Turn this all the way up and all the way down. Get that lined up again. Make sure you don't have too much or too little there. Now I'm short. Okay. Okay, now we're coming around the end on the back stretch here. Now you want to leave yourself about 6 inches to work with to tie the end off. So the way that I like to do it here, and now I want to join these two. And so I'll clip this. I've got some room here to stitch. So I'll clip this somewhere around here. Okay. Now this one is going to go over this strip. And I'm going to want it to be I'm going to miter it. And so I lay it over the way it's going to be, and I can see underneath where that finishes. And I'll take this, because whatever width you cut your binding is the width you need to cut the extra length for your strip. Now I've got this lined up with that end of the bottom strip, and I'm going to cut the top strip to that length. Now I want to sew these. I'm going to just give this a little press again because I see that I've got some wrinkles in the end of that. Okay. So now we're going to want this to finish with a miter on there. And so if we lay these on top of one another, match the corner, and we are going to stitch from this corner to the bottom corner of the back strip. So there, two, see that corner right there? That will be right over like that. And I always pin it well. Some people will like to mark that, but I can eyeball it pretty close. Okay, now I'm going to want to stitch from that corner to the inside corner here. Then you want to trim. Press that open. I've got it pressed open now to eliminate any bulk. And now I want to just get back on the machine. I'll start back a couple stitches, so I'll go over some that I've done. More often than not, I don't leave myself enough room to work. Today I did, but more often than not, and so I'll just pull back a couple of stitches so that I have some room. And there I am. You can't tell if that was a seam, wherever my seam is, right on the corner, or if that is the end. Now, that is the one with the seam in it. So now when you pull this back, and pull this back, I always look on the back side to see. I pull it back, and this one's got a nice miter on it. I pull that back, and then I can stitch from this side. I catch a little piece of the backing, and then into that little fold that I didn't iron. Now when you get to this corner, you may want to stitch in the corner, and then up in here a couple of stitches, and then back, and then continue on the other way. Well, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and I hope you learned something. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you tomorrow when we do Hump Day Deals. Bye for now.